I'm Jean Rimbach, and I'm an investigative reporter here at NorthJersey.com and the USA Today Network, New Jersey.
I'm Abbott Koloff, and I'm with the investigative reporting team at NorthJersey.com and the USA Today Network, New Jersey.
Well, the whole idea for this project got started when I was looking into some of the charter schools that have been created by the Turkish community in our area with a couple of other reporters. And in doing that story, we came across a project, a couple of buildings in Paterson that were being rented by one charter school, and we noticed they were being rented from a nonprofit group. And one of those buildings, as it turned out, had previously been owned by a different nonprofit group. And we looked at the leases, and there was nothing in them that showed that the charter school would ever own the building. And we looked at the borrowing situation for the properties and noticed that they had been supported with state-issue bonds, and noticed that the state hadn't looked at all at who would ultimately own these properties. And that's how we got kicked off into this.
Well, Jean had already been working on it for some months before I came on, and I was initially asked to look into the bond issues of one of the larger charter operators. So that's what I started doing, and we started looking through all of these bonds that are basically, the documents are 1,500 pages each. We would look through more than a dozen of these documents. I can't say how many hours, it's almost countless. It literally, I would spend weeks and weeks looking through documents trying to figure out where money was going, and trying to match numbers to see how they were related and to catch the flow of the money. And then we noticed that there was something unusual in some of the bonds, in that the charter school support groups themselves were buying the bonds with bank loans instead of investors, as is normally the case. And so that really kicked off a real debate between us as to the advantage. We were looking at how are they getting an advantage in some of these deals. They're so complex. We would debate for sometimes hours over a single issue and then find a document that would back up some of our conclusions. So it took. We've been working on this for more than a year, and that's basically looking through a lot of documents, thousands, tens of thousands of pages.
And one of the reasons, well, a couple of reasons for why it took so long, basically some of these deals are so complex, it's difficult to get paperwork, to get documents on a lot of them. A lot of the documents are held by private companies and you can't get access to them. Also, people are not, groups are not always responsive to OPA requests. And frankly, we didn't really anticipate, I know I didn't when we first started, that a lot of charter operators would not be willing to speak with us. And we ended up communicating with people through email or not at all.
I think we both have an obsessive, personality, obsessive compulsive, and we don't like to let go of something. When we find something, we just will take a long time to try to get to the root of an issue. We just won't let it go, especially when we think there's something that needs to come out to the public.
And we spent a fair amount of time when we didn't understand things talking to experts who did, having them help us parse through an issue, through a funding schedule, through just how things operate. And we didn't stop at just talking to one person. We kept reaching out, trying to get the clearest picture we could for things that sometimes some people had never heard of. Some of the funding scenarios people had never come across themselves, even the experts we spoke with.
Well, we're hoping that the state will look at the policy issues of putting so much public money into private buildings, and now we can't say what we hope will happen. We just the idea is that legislators and others will look at the best use of public money. But I think that we would like to see more transparency. In other states, we've been told where they've told private companies that you have to open your books to us. We were told here, well, we don't have to open our books. One spokesperson actually compared it to a coffee shop and said, well, they don't have to open their books. And we would point out that the coffee shop probably doesn't spend hundreds of millions of dollars of public money. And also, they might open their books.